So welcome to the Herbal First Aid Kit class. This is kind of a part two of a class that I was teaching at the Be Healthy Utah conference. So if you guys were there, so fun to meet you in person. I really enjoy having those opportunities to meet people and find like-minded friends. And so thank you for being here today. This is just a smaller webinar that I'm doing as part two to the class that I was teaching. So I want to go ahead and share my screen so that you guys can see. Whoops, that is not where I want to be. Okay, here we go. So I'm just going to go over the very first part of this class. Just as an introductory for anyone that wasn't there in the class. So this is a picture of my family. I have 4 kids. I'm a master herbalist and love teaching about herbs. I've been a master herbalist for about 15 years now. So I get so many questions of people asking, what can I do for this and what can I do for that? So I offer this class to kind of empower you to know how to help your family. And today's class will be much more in depth on the eight of my favorite herbs. It was so hard to pick just 8 of my favorite herbs because I have like 100 that I use all the time. And so I hope this helps because I wanted to simplify it for so many people. So we went over some of my very favorite herbs. The cayenne pepper, charcoal powder, chamomile, and comfrey are all powdered herbs. So when we use them, they're easily accessible, but we're going to use them differently from the essential oils. So the essential oils are the eucalyptus, lavender, peppermint, and ginger. And I just want to go into a little bit more depth about each one of these and let you know how we can use them. So this is my first aid kit. I brought one here because I'll be using it. It is still on sale. I still have the class special going. That's half off of these kits. Basically, and I'm not saying this to make a sell. I'm saying this because I really want you guys to have it. And if you already have it, I hope that you can use it. But this kit, I really charge about the cost that it takes for me to make it. It is a pain. If you guys have ever worked with charcoal powder, especially getting it in those little bottles, it's such a mess. And then cayenne pepper, you sneeze for days. But it's worth it to getting this to you guys, even though it is a pain to make them, because I really believe in them and the power that they have to help change your lives and help you heal. Um, so many people say, I'm so afraid to help my family heal because I'm just a mom. I don't know if I could do this, or I'm too afraid that if I tried to do something, it won't work out and there will be a problem. In all of the 15 years as I've been dealing with people, doing something at least until you get to the hospital or the emergency center or anything is going to help. I've never had anyone do something that was more hurtful than the person would have already been in that state if they hadn't done anything. So don't be afraid around that. It's going to help. And then I'll talk a little bit about energy, putting your energy in. That is so powerful and helpful. So just know that you do have the power, especially as a mom. I really believe you have the gift of intuition to help your family. And so many people say, oh, these aren't plants. I need real medicine. Well, guess what? We're not even able to have access to all the medicine we need anymore. So just knowing what herbs and plants do could be really helpful. And actually, most of the medicine that doctors use comes from plants. So can they help? Yes, they can. There's many studies around that. So as we pull out your first aid kit, I'd love to start with eucalyptus. For me this morning, I had a couple things happen that were really big and hard yesterday and this morning, and I've been out trying to deal with things. One of them was my husband's truck broke down and kind of a big problem because he does landscaping and he has a bunch of employees, and it just was kind of a problem. And I was really feeling stressed, and I had to go run around, and then my son didn't wake up for school because I was at home and his alarm didn't go off, and had to take him to school. And it's funny because like I just kind of did the air dry thing today because I didn't even have time to do my hair and was just feeling so much stress. And so when I got in the shower, I couldn't breathe. Like, and some really big emotional things happened too. So it was kind of just a day, and I was just feeling the pressure. And I put that eucalyptus oil, essential oil on my diffuser. If you guys have been around me, you've probably seen that. And it felt so good to just breathe, to check in and just like, it's okay. It's okay. Things are hard and they happen and it's going to be okay. And that is huge. Eucalyptus can be used for people with respiratory issues. Like I just used it, whether it's emotional or whether it's physical, it helps with all of it. I use it for a lot for colds. Kids tend to get mucusy right here, especially adults that haven't really cleared out that mucus stuff. It is so helpful for um, everyone to be able to have access to being able to breathe. So I just want to make sure, hold on, you guys. People are requesting to come in. Do you guys have any questions while I'm doing this? I'm kind of seeing that. Okay, I'll let the rest of them in. Sorry, I forget about that when I'm just talking. People need me to let them in. Okay, so it's also great for being able to decrease pain. Pain is huge. Headaches specifically can be something that I use eucalyptus for. If my kids get an ouchie, I like to let them breathe it and just help calm them down. If you get rashes and stuff, be careful. I like to do it around the area and allow that to soothe the irritated skin. Insect repellent, that's coming up, you guys. Darn it. But it's so good to put on your skin. I love it in the roller bottle because you can just roll it directly on the skin and mosquitoes specifically don't like it. Asthma and bronchitis, I usually go deeper if you have things like asthma and bronchitis, but it is so good for those deeper respiratory illnesses too. I love to use lobelia to clear out the mucus, and it's funny talking about mucus because I'm like, but it can really help you breathe so much better, even if you have chronic issues. Plaque, gingivitis, how do you use that? Just I'd like to put out my finger and just roll it on my teeth. Head lice, this is so good, especially with the coconut oil. I have poured the bottle onto my kid's head. I like to add it with rosemary essential oil if you have it for something like head lice, but it is very helpful. Toenail fungus is something people get a lot. I love using eucalyptus with light therapy, like red light therapy. You can do that with or other types of light, but fungus doesn't like eucalyptus. Joint pain and arthritis, especially like if it's chronic in your hands and it just hurts. I talked to you earlier about it decreases pain. So just roll it directly onto the joints that hurt and rub it in. Bladder infections, roll this right over your bladder. It can really help breathe it in too, but you want to be killing those infections. I just did a live about bladder infections the other day, but drink a lot of fluids. Cranberry juice is really helpful. Take infection fighting herbs, things that boost your immune system, like golden seal, echinacea, anything like that. I like to put echinacea in my household cleaner. I make a spray, and I'll be doing a video on how I do some of that soon, but it's great for cleaning up and sanitizing your house. So that's eucalyptus. If you guys have any questions, feel free to unmute and ask anything that is coming up. Like I mentioned, I do love to add eucalyptus to my shower. It is so good on a daily basis. If there's one herb, everyone's like, what's your favorite one in the shower? For me, it's eucalyptus. And I just tend to use it all of the time. So like I said, with that stress breathing and physical breathing, it can be so helpful. Ginger, so many people see ginger and they're like, how do I use it? Do I just drink it in a tea? Yes, you can use that. But for me, I put it in the roller bottle because I want it to be quick and accessible for everyone. Ginger tends to be a little bit hot. And so kids specifically don't like ginger when you're using it fresh. So that's why I put it with the essential oil version. Ginger is my favorite if you have achy sore muscles, to put it on, get in the bath with that on, and help it relax those muscles. It does really ease nausea and vomiting and side effects of chemotherapy. There are so many studies that show that ginger has the same or better effect than Dramamine does for things like motion sickness. So my son who gets sick in the car and other things, I put peppermint oil and ginger on him, and he's always okay if I do those things. I'll sometimes get like fresh, like those dried ginger things, and he can chew them, but the essential oil is so quick and easy to use that way. It does treat migraine pain. I highly recommend for people, especially that deal with headaches, to try ginger. Try it with the peppermint. Try it with the eucalyptus. I love this kit that I have because you can combine all of these herbs to help treat really bad pain, things like migraines. It does, and there's so many studies around this too, it significantly improves symptoms of rheumatoid arthritis. So if you do have like chronic pain that way, try using the ginger. Ginger, they call it like an herb that allows other herbs to piggyback on. So it like takes it to where it needs to go even stronger. So combine ginger with other herbs. It's really great. It's great for allergies. That season is coming up too, and so many people complain of that stuffy sinus congestion and inflammation around their eyes, which is usually caused from the sinuses being inflamed. Try ginger. It's so helpful. I have a essential oil roller bottle that I use for specifically allergies, but I love combining just ginger if that's all I have. And I can share some of those recipes with you guys if you want them. It's really great for managing blood sugar and cholesterol with type 2 diabetes. So I do a 3-day juice cleanse with my detox, and people come in and they say, I'm worried about my blood sugar. What can I do? First of all, I recommend adding cinnamon. Secondly, if you have blood sugar issues, try rolling on ginger a lot. Allow it to help with the pancreas and stabilizing the blood sugar and cholesterol issues that you have. If you have things like the knee pain, it's kind of like the arthritis, just roll it on. Acid reflux, especially if you're taking some strong herbs like cayenne pepper in the lower bowel formula, because I always recommend flushing your bowels first. In all of these cases, open up your bowels, do that first. If the capsules cause you to have acid reflux, roll on the ginger. Food poisoning, roll on the ginger. I'll talk about another herb I love for food poisoning, but I love them combined. Gas and bloating, you guys, that is such a huge pain. I know, like, I'll tease my husband about that when he eats beans and dairy, because it just doesn't go well for him. So I have him roll on the ginger, and it really does help. So feel free to raise your hand if you guys have questions around any of these. I'm just gonna go through all of them pretty quickly because I could spend hours on these herbs. I love them so much, but I'm happy to answer any questions while I'm doing them. So lavender is very good for reducing anxiety. I had some lavender this morning, some fresh stuff that I was just smelling, and it just so calming. I love to close my eyes and just breathe it in. Just doing those two things are so powerful for anxiety. We often think that with anxiety, we have to just force ourselves to let go. Just closing your eyes, the act of closing your eyes. You can go ahead and try it right now. Just close your eyes. See how that feels like as you just check in and reduce external stresses around you. Lavender is great for burns because this, in my kit, the lavender is in a roller bottle with fractionated coconut oil. If you're worried about the oil on the burn, if it's a deeper burn, like what's the word? Second degree burn, I just do it around the area, not on the area itself. I use the comfrey, which I'll talk about in a minute, to put directly on the burn itself. It does improve sleep. I'd love to put it in my diffuser, roll it on kids' feet. It dozes for bed. My kids love little massages before bed, and this has the oil, so you can just rub it on and then just give them a little massage, put it on their chest, and as you tuck them in, it's just a fun little connecting way to help your kids. It does help with skin care. I put it in my skincare line, which I'll show you guys some of those recipes, but you can roll it on for wrinkles and rashes, anything like that. It does help with acne and scarring. Eczema is something I'd test it first to see how that is for you guys. It does help with pain too. It's all part of that relaxing ability that it has. So same thing, if you have sore muscles, roll on the ginger, get in the bath and put the lavender in. It is a great respiratory treatment too. You can just rub it right on your lungs. It's that calming effect that it has. It's also great for bug repellent. So see how you can combine a lot of these herbs. Circulation is great, especially if you're getting like numb arms and hands, or Charlie horses, things like that. It's really great for that. It's good for anti-dandruff. So you can just roll that on for dandruff specifically. You can use like bentonite clay to do a mask, and then as you heal, do this after. So put the lavender and the fractionated coconut oil in, rub it in, and allow it to sit overnight if you can, and wash it out. But that's a really great remedy for dandruff. Bacterial issues, it will clean the sinuses, boost immunity, aids in digestion. So many people don't think about lavender for digestion issues, but it really does help calm some of this tummy upset. And I'm kind of an expert in tummy aches, so this is one I'd love to use. It does help with hair loss. So I make a combination blend with castor oil and fill it up with like I fill a bottle up with castor oil, and then I add drops of lavender, cedarwood, and rosemary to really aid in hair loss issues. When you put it on though, like take your fingertips and put them on your scalp, and then just massage. Don't like scratch your head, but bring the blood to the scalp as you're doing that. That will really help. And if you're feeling brave, you can add the cayenne pepper to this castor oil to really stimulate the scalp and helping with hair loss. Anti-spasmodic, it does help with spasms, all different degrees and levels. We talked a little bit about that class. It can help with seizures and things like that, but just be really careful there. It is great for helping reduce infections. When my kids get ouchies, they always know that they get to put lavender oil on them because of the antibacterial properties that it has. So like I said, again, if you guys have questions, feel free to reach out and raise your hand, because I'll just be going through this. Peppermint, like I said, this is a roller bottle essential oil blend. If you see peppermint leaves, it's always better to use them fresh. I love to use peppermint leaves as band-aids and something to chew on if you can have them fresh. But for now, we're just talking about it in the roller bottle. So peppermint is so great for irritable bowel syndrome. I do recommend drinking peppermint tea often, rolling this roller on your tummy, put it on your throat, breathe it in. It will be really helpful. Indigestion, heartburn, nausea, vomiting, morning sickness. Can you see like how it's so good for all these stomach issues? Gas is another really great one. It does help with colds. So when I tell people to go get in a hot bath and raise their fever, peppermint can help hold that heat level and keep you warm while burning off those infections. So that's another great one to use if you're sick. Coughing, especially if you put it on your throat area, can really help soothe a really heavy cough or bring out the mucus that you're trying to cough up. So it helps in both ways. Sinus infections can be really tricky. I do recommend using garlic while you're clearing a sinus infection. I mentioned this in my class. 4 cloves of garlic, fresh garlic, equal an adult dose of antibiotics. So if you're using the garlic and the peppermint, it can really help clear out those sinus infections. Sinus infections can be caused from staph, and that bacteria type infection can be really helpful with things like peppermint. Respiratory infections, cramps. Cramps is a big one, especially if you get muscle cramps or women getting different types of cramps. It can be so soothing. Some of the heat levels in the peppermint can really soothe the pain. Increases memory. I do recommend that you rub it onto your scalp. People use it for headaches, by their temples and things, but I do it right across the forehead when my kids are struggling to pay attention. If they have a test or needing to be alert, especially like a driver in the car, if they get drowsy, this is really important. Just put it around the forehead, have them breathe it in. I put it on my diffuser to help you stay alert and awake. It can be so important while driving to stay awake, especially if you're feeling that fogginess. So try the peppermint. Bad breath. So many of us know about this, that you get a peppermint leaf on your plate, like with dessert or something. Chew it, use it. It does really help with the bad breath. I also recommend chewing cloves. A stick of clove will be really helpful for bad breath, but peppermint, especially if it's fresh, is amazing. You can take the roller bottle and put it on your finger and just rub it in your mouth for bad breath, and do it for tooth pain. If you have hives, rash, poison oak, poison ivy, you pull out the peppermint. You need something hot to balance that. babies with colic specifically, I use peppermint so much for my oldest son who had the worst colic, and it really did help him so much. And then if you have hay fever and allergies, use the peppermint right now. Um, so this is something I love to talk about when we talk about natural healing. So many of us forget that your hands really do have the power to heal. I was talking to one of the girls I was coaching yesterday, and she was struggling to get through an energy block. And I told her that I will be putting forth my energy to help her heal. I will be praying for her and sending good vibes and just love doing that for people because even from a distance, we have the power to heal and help, even though we don't always think about it. I love this quote. A healer's power stems not from any special ability, but from maintaining the courage and awareness to embody and express the universal healing power that every human being naturally possesses. We forget that we give our power away to people like doctors. So many people come to me with stomach issues, and I tell them the stomach is associated with giving your power away, specifically around our ability to heal. I just cut my 2 fingers the other day pretty deeply. It was on Sunday and I couldn't even use them. I was just chopping vegetables and I used that chopping machine and accidentally rubbed it and it was so sharp it just cut my fingers. And it's so funny because it's been 2 days now and they're practically healed. And it's so amazing to think about our body's power to heal. We often worry that our bodies are not going to heal and things are going to happen that are going to get worse, but our bodies always lean toward healing. And the energy of the universe leans toward us being healed, not holding us back or punishing us. So if you can be aware of this in your body and your ability to heal, that can help you so much more helping your family. I love telling the story 2 years ago about when my family went to Yellowstone. With my in-laws, my second oldest son was playing around after dinner and he sat down to watch a movie with his grandpa, and I went into the room to journal and just to just read. And while they were watching the video, I mean, I had just literally seen him 30 minutes before playing. My father-in-law came in and said, "Your son is really hot. I think he has a fever. Can you come check on him?" And I went out and his whole body was burning up and he was delirious. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is not good because it looked like it was a serious infection. So I brought him in and I didn't have all of my herbs. I had a couple little things that I used, but I turned on healing music and I was pulling the energy from him. I started doing a little tapping and was telling him, "Oh, Tate, your body is so strong. I know you want to enjoy this vacation with the family. I really believe that you're going to be okay. How do you feel?" And he's like, "I don't know, Mom." And I said, "Do you believe that your body has the power to heal?" And he would say, "Yes, I do." And I said, "I do too. I think you want to enjoy this vacation and I think you're going to be just fine." And he's like, "Yeah, I think so." And I said, "Do you feel loved, Tate? Do you know how special and important you are to us?" And he's like, "I do." And as I was doing this, he just fell asleep. And I had my husband come in and give him a blessing with my father-in-law. But as they finished that, I felt his forehead and he was fine and woke up the next morning feeling totally fine. I don't believe that he didn't have anything and just was fine. I believe that he had a really strong infection. And with our faith and hands and healing with the words that we were using, it all just worked to help him heal. So I hope that when you remember this, especially as a mom or someone that you love, as you're helping them heal, you have this power to really strengthen and change the energy in their bodies. Um, so I kind of told the story of how my son cut his finger and fainted. We used cayenne pepper. I just poured it all over his finger, and it was able to, within a minute, be this picture on the right. After so much gushing blood, and he was in shock, and he had fainted, and just having him drink the cayenne pepper brought him back to um feeling like himself again, and he was able to, like, he was so pale when he got up from fainting, and it was so cool just to watch the blood come right back to him as he drank that cayenne pepper. He does have a little bit of scar on his finger. It's on his ring finger, so I said, like, you have a permanent ring on your finger now. But I was just so grateful to have that cayenne pepper right on hand. It was funny because this was upstairs in my bathroom that this happened, and my cayenne peppers down in the kitchen, but I had a first aid kit right by my room. So I was able to just grab it quickly and use it, which really helped my son in fainting. So even though, you know, you've had these things around, if you're not using them, you're not helping, but cayenne pepper stops bleeding, especially pouring it on. So many people ask if it hurts. And I ask my kids all the time, and they're like, no, not really. And I don't think it hurts. When I cut my fingers, they were good little bleeders, and I did the same thing. I just poured the cayenne pepper on. I didn't feel any pain with it. Some people might, but I think it's worth the pain to stop the bleeding. So cayenne pepper stops a heart attack. How much do you give? I say as much as needed. Have them drink, like it will feel good. That heat amount will feel good. Start with like a tablespoon. Have them drink it and do more. It is like you need a lot of it and you need to get it down quickly. If you start feeling tingling in the arm or just kind of feeling delirious or hot sweats, anything, give them cayenne pepper. It can stop strokes too. So anything that you're worried about, even if it's nothing, give them cayenne pepper. It won't hurt. The biggest thing that it can do is it hurts coming out, but that's pain that's totally worth it in case something bigger was going on. It does stop bleeding mostly within 30 seconds to a minute. I mentioned this in my class live. If you get bloody noses specifically, I wish I had this as a child because I had so many bloody noses where I just pinch my nose and put ice on the back of my neck and lay there for hours and hours just drinking that blood because it would just roll down your throat and burn it. I wish I had cayenne pepper. I wish I had known how helpful this would be. It's also really great for pain relief. So when people say, does cayenne pepper hurt? I say, sometimes it balances. I use it for women as they're going through pregnancy and feeling crampy and pain, and then when they're delivering their babies, that cayenne pepper is so helpful so that they don't bleed out and then they can deal with the pain better. I use it for headaches, specifically for people in my detox group. I give everyone in my detox cayenne pepper because I really believe in the pain of helping with headaches. It does solve heartburn and stomach irritants. So many people are like, that's got to be wrong. How can something hot help with heartburn? But it's fixing the problem. And lots of heartburn relief tablets like, what are those antacids people choose? Tums. They're not actually helping the problem. They're diluting the acid. Well, the problem with most heartburn is you don't have enough acid in your stomach to break down the food, so it keeps coming up your esophagus. You want to actually increase that acid so that your body will break down all the food so it doesn't come back up. So using it for heartburn is really helpful. It's also great for ulcers, stomach ulcers, everything like that. It is great for being an anti-irritant. Like if you have a sore throat, I know this is an old remedy so many people use, but put it in like lemon and honey water that's hot and drink it for like colds and things like that. Great for diarrhea. Another one that people are like, really? Yeah, drink cayenne pepper. It will help those irritated bowels and things that are going on, especially if it's a stomach upset thing. Cayenne pepper will help. Anti-cold and flu, like I said, I drink it without lemon water. It is a digestive aid. It produces saliva. For people with dry mouth issues, drinking cayenne pepper can really help. If you're worried about, this is another reason I have it for my detox, is that some people drinking like the apple juice, they're not digesting it well. It causes gas and bloating. Try the cayenne pepper because it will help break down that food. It also is great for being antibacterial and antifungal for it right on like toenail fungus or sores and wounds that you're worried about getting infected. It's also great for weight loss support. It really increases the heat level of the body, boosts the metabolism, and circulates blood, getting rid of those toxins. All of that is really great for releasing weight. If you have a toothache, pour some on your finger and put it right on the tooth and have it help not only get rid of the bacteria or anything in the tooth, but helping bring the blood again so that you can have healing there. And it does help regulate blood pressure. So many people with like cholesterol issues, blood pressure issues, even in low or high, it can really help regulate all of that. And, you know, like I said, if I'm not seeing you guys raise your hand, just let me know. Feel free to unmute and come on. Mill is It's funny because it wasn't always my very favorite herb initially, but I love it so much now. Chamomile is something I use specifically for my son who gets bee stings that his body just reacts, antihistamine, all those things. You're going to want to use chamomile. Um, it is great for fevers if they get a little bit high. So I do like to keep this around for kids, but I don't like to ever suppress a fever unless absolutely necessary. But it can help balance either way. It can increase the fever and help you get rid of the infection, or can help calm that fever if needed. It is a very calming herb. So many people use chamomile. The great thing about chamomile is you can find it like in hotels and other things. So knowing the properties of it is really helpful if needed in an emergency. If you do have trouble sleeping, that's what most people use it for, to just calm you down and relax it. If you have kids running around that are crazy, give it to them too, especially for my kids. If they've had too much sugar, I love to give them chamomile and just help them calm down that way. It's great for colic and teething pain, especially for little ones. I've taken the chamomile flowers and made a herbal infusion with them, like steep it in the water and give it to babies just in a bottle. It is really helpful for colic and teething pain that way. It's really great for anxiety. Anxiety is becoming a new big problem in the world. I have so many people saying they have anxiety. I know I've dealt with it myself. Just drinking the chamomile can be really helpful, settling the stomach, anti-inflammatory. If you have any inflammation, whether like your stomach's upset or you're having like inflammation in your joints or something, drink the chamomile. It's good for all of those things. A skin irritation soother, I love to get the flowers, get them wet, put them in an oil and put it on the skin itself. If it's irritated, it can really help immediately that way, and always drink it. If you don't have the comfrey and stuff, I do recommend it for burns, or you can combine the two together. Use the comfrey and the chamomile for burns. My very favorite burn recipe is with comfrey powder, but this is like another great option. It is really great for detoxifying the liver. The liver is congested. That's causing skin issues and rashes and things like that. So like I always say, open up the bowels very first. And then if you have liver issues, you want to detoxify that with it. It breaks up congestion. So using it on little ones when they get respiratory illnesses like RSV or things that are stronger is really helpful. So give it to them warm, let them drink it, place it on their chest, use it with like garlic oil and things is so helpful. It's good for dental health. So there's so many things like, what do I do with my teeth? Dental health this way, specifically for inflamed gums, it can really help soothe those, lower your blood pressure, lift up your mood, which is so helpful, especially if you have anxiety. It's great for gas pain. Lots of times, like you want to get it immediately, so put it on the belly if they have gas pain. Does help relieve constipation and soothing ulcers. So with the cayenne that I mentioned a minute ago, this is really great for putting them both together to soothe those ulcers. Activated charcoal powder. I love charcoal. I have used this probably second most to the cayenne pepper. People always wonder, like, how do I get the charcoal? Make sure it is activated and can be a good source and clean source of charcoal powder. But like I mentioned in my class, if you guys were there, I have literally taken ashes from the bark of a tree or something that was burned, like the wood, and used it like while camping or something. So you can use it, just that way too, if needed in a pinch. But charcoal has the ability to trap infections. It is porous and it wants to suck things in, and is positively charged. So when you drink it, it will draw things to it. So infections, specifically food poisoning, is so good to be taking it because it will absorb those toxins, and then they'll hold it and then allow you to flush it out. Some people with taking charcoal powder will see it like in their stools within like 30 minutes to an hour. It's really great at flushing. So if you do have things like food poisoning, vomiting, diarrhea, some type of infection, take charcoal powder. It doesn't taste like anything, but I love to do like a heaping teaspoon or up to a tablespoon, mix it in like 1/4 a cup of water to 1/2 a cup, and then just drink it, and then follow it up with a lot more water. Really help flush out your system. I use it for detoxification. Anything that's irritating you, if you have a stomach upset, drink charcoal powder. If you ate too much food and your stomach's feeling hurt, drink charcoal powder. It will be good for all of it. I use charcoal powder when, and this is a longer story than I want to go into, but I given my family niacin powder thinking I heard it helps with mosquito bites. And when we were getting ready to move to Samoa, I thought, oh, I want to prevent mosquito bites as much as possible. So I'm going to give my family niacin. Well, anyway, I thought I had killed my family because we were all doing that niacin flush thing. Everyone's skin was turning red. They were hot, like they were acting weird. I probably gave them too much. I know I felt like I was dying. And when my husband was calling the poison control center, like he had got home after we drank it. Luckily, he had good timing. I had asked it to get us charcoal powder to really help. But that's exactly what they said, is to use charcoal powder, but they said you'll also be fine. It's just a niacin flush. And so I was glad I didn't kill myself and the family. But it was also really good to know that we had charcoal powder if needed. Can reduce the effects of radiation. Like I said, pulling those toxins out, it is good for anti-aging. I will use bentonite clay and charcoal and a mask and put it on my face and skin, especially if anything's irritating it. You can put it directly on the skin if you feel like something was infected and you touched it, or you feel like the skin is getting infected after like a wound is healing, put charcoal powder on it. It will absorb that infection, especially if there's pus and oozy stuff coming out. Use the charcoal powder if you have like a boil and want to pull out some of the pus, especially if it's open, put the charcoal powder on it. It is good, like just spot treatment for acne if they're not huge, but once it's open, put the charcoal powder on it if you're worried about it getting reinfected. I put charcoal powder in my tooth powder. I use Dr. Christopher's herbal tooth and gum powder, and we'll add the charcoal powder to it just a little bit, and not every single time that I'm doing it. Like every couple of months, I'll switch out and add some charcoal powder, add some things like bentonite clay to really help whiten the teeth and scrub them, clear out anything like that. It's really great for mosquito bites and bee stings. I know like an old remedy is to put like baking soda on those kind of things. Charcoal powder does a similar thing. It just pulls out those infections. It's so great to have on hand in first aid for water filtration. I've actually used this before, just checking things out. We've done it as like science type experiments with our kids, where you put the rocks and then the sand and then like the charcoal powder, but it's really great to have. It's also good for air purification. So that one's a harder one to be using, but you can just putting it in the water will help clean out the air that you're breathing. And it's so good for flushing your kidneys. I know like this weekend I looked into some eyes and saw that they were overly acidic, and that tends to be an American type problem, specifically with our Western diet. But to flush those kidneys, especially if they're hurting, to use charcoal powder. So, and like I said, I'm going through these really fast, so if you have questions, let me know. I did mention in the class the story of my little girl and cutting her eye open. I was so grateful for just knowing I could put cayenne pepper, even if it did get into her eye, which it did a little bit. It was a little stingy for her, but nothing miserable, and it totally saved us from losing a day on our vacation, and she was able to heal just fine, and she just barely has a barely noticeable. Anyway, the scar is barely noticeable in her eyebrow, but I put the cayenne pepper directly on it. I used the lavender to calm her down, the ginger for the pain, and then I was able to sleep with her. All those things are used in the kit. And then afterwards, for the next couple of days, specifically while we were on vacation, I was rubbing the lavender and eucalyptus and stuff around for pain and any infection, but she was just fine. She didn't have any infections or anything with it. So now that the class is done, let's see what you know. So what can you do if your child has a headache? Does anyone want to answer? Feel free to answer this. Let's see if you guys can unmute. What would you guys do if your child has a headache? I like to use peppermint. I like to use cayenne pepper. I like to use eucalyptus. Anything that you guys like that you recommend, feel free to share. What do you do if you get a stomach ache after meals or your child gets food poisoning? You can use sorry, I was just looking to see if anyone was saying anything. Feel free, you guys, to talk if you can or want to. Unless I put something on, put it in the chat, and if you can't talk. Stomachache after meals, use peppermint. Use the charcoal powder. What about if your spouse has a heart attack? Cayenne pepper. That is my go-to for everything. If you get allergies, you can use the peppermint. You can use the eucalyptus. You can use basically any of the essential oil rollers. The ginger is really great for that too. If your baby's stuffy from a cold, what can you do? I do recommend making the chamomile tea, giving them peppermint and eucalyptus oil to help them breathe, roll it on their feet and their tummies. What about if your child has anxiety? I'd love to pull out the lavender and just rub that on and see if that will help them. So some of this, you know, I recommended like my shower diffuser. If you're in my detox and know about some of these herbs, I recommend you start using them. I'll see some of these things in your eyes. If some of you are wondered, like, how do you know about some of this? It's all through an eye reading, anything like that. So basically, I use products to restore your health. Use the shower diffuser. Start using those things where you check in, especially as a mom. The most important first aid you can give yourself is the ability to check in and be calm in difficult situations. Learning how to breathe will really help you, because when your child specifically has an issue come up, that's where you tend to be the most panicky. Being able to check in and come from a place of calm is helpful for them. I also recommend 2 other products that I love for herbal first aid. This is a horrible picture, but the complete tissue and bone ointment with the comfrey in it is so helpful. I didn't talk about comfrey. Maybe I skipped that one. But comfrey is a bone-eating herb, and it's so powerful to help the tissues really heal and repair and restore. And so I use this complete tissue and bone ointment. I also use the cayenne heat ointment, which you can just use cayenne pepper as additional boosters to my herbal first aid. If you want refill packs, I have a little kit available for only $15 right now. On sale for you guys. The first aid kits themselves are still at $50. So if you have any questions around that, I'm going to put the link in the chat so that you guys can have access to that. But does anyone, oh, I missed some of your chat. You guys, you have to tell me. Yeah, the capsules are okay, Bobby, but I don't always recommend them, especially because you want them to start working immediately. Capsules tend to take longer to digest. So herbal first aid specifically, you want it as soon as possible. So yeah, the peppermint oil, the ginger, Kirsten said peppermint is what you use for your headaches. I'm so glad. Yeah, try the strong herbs for a lot of pain. And I did say I would put the link in the class. So oops, I may have got the link wrong. I'll add that in the Facebook group so you guys can have access to that. That's only going to be on sale this week. So if you guys want one, they make really great Mother's Day gifts and Father's Day gifts. So reach out if you have any questions. I hope this class was helpful. If you guys want to unmute and ask any questions at all, feel free. If I have it so you can't unmute themselves, let me know. But like I said, in the Facebook group, if you guys do have any questions, I'm here to help and answer them. One thing that I love about my first aid kit is that I included this little mini instruction card that basically says some of the things that you can use each of one of those herbs for and why I have it in there. I also have a lot of these slides available for you guys. If you want a copy of them, I will put the QR code for that too in the Facebook group. Each one of the bottles in my kit also tells you what to do with them. So I hope this was helpful. I'm so glad I was able to have you guys join me and meet some of you in person at our the Be Healthy Utah conference. If you are wanting to get more into herbs and things that you can do for your family, I'm happy to answer those questions too in our Facebook group and help you guys around that. So if there's no more questions, I'll let you guys go. This will be recorded and available if you wanted to rewatch it or go through some of the slides and take notes, because I know I did go through that fast, but like I said, I will give you access to all of that information so that you can use it and that can help you and your family. So I wish you all of the very best, and especially with the first aid, it is hard, like specifically knowing what to do. But if you guys noticed, I was trying to give you like lots of ideas of how to use one herb many different ways. You can't go wrong. Grab one of the herbs, start trying them. They will be helpful. Even if you get the wrong herb, it will still be effective. So I was trying to show you how so many of them can help a lot of different issues. So don't worry so much about that. Just grab them, use your energy, your healing power, and help your families to heal. So thank you for your kind comments. My dad is here. Thanks, Dad. I appreciate that. And you're so welcome. I'm glad, Kirsten, this was able to help, and wish you all the best in your healing journey. I next week will be going on and sharing how to work through anxiety, and I'm teaching you my shower routine. So many people keep asking for that webinar, so I'm going to do that next week. So feel free to join me next Tuesday, and I'll be doing that for you guys. So I wish you all of the best, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.